So good evening. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world. So whether you are on Twitter or Facebook, welcome back to another segment of the Easytalk. And I've got my brother, lo and behold, it's going to be the third head-to-head that we're going to be having. So let's get into it. So again, yes, welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world. And I've got my brother Raz back on the Easytalk. How's it going, Ralph?
Well, it's been a rather challenging fortnight, as no doubt we'll get into it. So yeah, from this end of the UK in South Wales, it's rather blustery and windy, and no doubt that's quite in context with the way that Arsenal have been. It's been rather challenging and blustery and all over the place kind of time. So yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay, cool.
You okay?
So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thank you. In respect of Arsenal, really, I think personally, the chickens are coming home to roost. But again, we'll get into that further down the line. So, some of you who are maybe viewing Cannon Fodder TV for the first time, we've got 3 segments, and they are, Raz, what are the 3 segments on Cannon Fodder TV?
Monday nights we have Alex and Richard doing the Arsenal fan comments. Then there is the voice of reason. I like to think it's a voice of reason. It may be a voice of my opinion, but it's a voice of reason on the Wednesday, and that gets shown from 7 o'clock. And then, like this evening, we have the Easytalk bite size or mega bite size, depending on the amount of guests that we have as well on a Friday. So those are our 3 segments for the week. And as always, we like you guys to subscribe, press the notification button, and share and leave comments as well, because that's the way it makes our channel grow.
Well said. Here. So, the last time we spoke, Ralph, Unai Emerys was the coach. He was the coach, and now we've got a new interim coach in club legend, actually one of the Invincibles, Freddie Ljungberg. And I was looking back at some of our Easytalks over maybe the last month and a half. And I remember on one Easytalk we had Mube Guna on, and you kind of stuck to your guns, pardon the pun, and you were saying that really we shouldn't be so quick to sack the coach or the manager, because further on down the line we might get into a situation where we're going to have like a revolving door of new coaches. Do you know what this is? These are flip-flops.
Yeah.
Are you a flip-flopper? You just change your mind from one to the other. No?
Okay.
You're not a flip-flopper?
Okay. So, of course, we had this conversation about managers, and we also mentioned that we have to give our present manager at the time, Unai Emerys, some time to get to grips with the way that the team is progressing, playing, and getting results. And I'm not saying I'm a flip-flop. I tend to think that I would have backed Unai Emerys, and I have done on many occasions, or quite a few occasions, 100%, because at the end of the day, the manager can only put his team out based on the strength of his players, and the players take on his philosophy to make sure that what his actions and tactical actions are get carried out. Yeah. And it has been going downhill. There's no way, there's no point of denying it and proportioning blame. He is the coach at the helm. He came in with a dossier on how the team's going to progress and how they're going to play and how he wants them to play. And at the start of his tenure, brilliant. There's 1 or 2 players that didn't perform, and he put them on the sidelines. We don't need to say who they are. We know who they are. And barring six matches before the the hellhole of Baku, we only needed 1 point out of those matches to get into the top 4. So if you're looking at his objectives for his tenure, it was 1, to get us into the top 4, 2, to sort out the defense, because let's face it, the defense has been abysmal, and it's been abysmal for a long time. So he had to sort that out. And then it was, if it was possible, to win a cup. Now he came in with winning 3 Europas on the bounce, and this would have been his 4th. But the way that the team showed up on that horrible night showed that really we had to scrap and start again. But we didn't. The board, due to fan pressure, decided to act, and we got 3 players on the transfer. 4 that with Saliba, who's not going to be joining us until next season. Now, after Newcastle and Burnley, we had the stern test of Liverpool. Okay, if it becomes ifs, ands, buts, and maybes, and they don't make nothing. At the end of the day, we didn't take our chances and we lost. And it's against teams that we should have beaten. No disrespect to those below the 6. We are now in that mix. And we're in that mix because the manager, the coach, didn't perform, or he didn't put out the team that that was his strongest 11. And if you remember, Alex, I said to you we're going back months now, that Unai Emery didn't know his 11. Now, if you're 18 months into a job, you pretty much know the landscape. You pretty much know the players. You've been posting videos showing how they're getting it together with training. And yet training and on the field is 2 different things. The fans can sense it.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Of course.
Hindsight is a beautiful thing. However, what some that's taught me over the last 2 games, now that we have Freddie Ljungberg at the helm, whether it be short-term or long-term, is that it is, and it has been, the players. I've said many a times that the players are just not good enough. It's like you've got a pack of cards, you've got a bad hand, and no matter how much you shuffle the cards, you've got a bad hand there. Unai Emery, I think it's been disingenuous to Unai Emery, who came at Arsenal with his project or his ideas, and we've sacked him 18 months in. He's tried to play so many different combinations. I know he's been labelled now as the Tinkerman, but the reason why he's had to play these players, because all the combinations, all the players there he has there, they're the same set of players. The other night there, you had Tierney, you had Bellerin, you had that back four there. You had David Lewis in an advanced role. You had Lacazette, Aubameyang starting. Ozil playing. And still, they couldn't perform. They still could not perform. So I go back to my point that I think the loud noise that is the fan base calling out and asking for Unai Emery to be sacked, for me, I felt embarrassed. Really, I felt embarrassed that we could not wait until the end of his contract with the option of the extension. And now, where are we now? Where are we now? We've got Freddie Ljungberg at the helm. His 11 came out and people were asking or baying for blood after his first game. So is this what the fan base has come? Literally, we are impatient. We don't have any respect for the history at Arsenal. We want instant success. You're entitled to your opinion, Ralph. Really, you know, and that's what Cannon Fodder TV is about. Unless, you know, we go overboard where we're inciting racism or violence. You're entitled to your opinion. But this is where things have changed. Where things are. This is the watershed moment for Arsenal. Believe me, that we could not wait until Unai Emery completed his second season and see where we are. Let the board decide whether, okay, he hasn't met our targets. Unai Emery, thanks for the mermaids. It's time for you to go. 18 months in, not one quarter in the new season, and people were baying for blood. They wanted their pound of flesh. And so where are we now? We lost just yesterday. It's going to be a revolving door of new coaches. The moment he doesn't reach our personal expectations, we're going to be baying for blood. It's a sad day for Arsenal. It's a sad day, really. I keep watching 89. 89, the documentary and the game they were playing against Liverpool. Where are we going? Where are we going? We're going in the wrong direction. You want to talk to your own opinion, Ralph? But yeah.
Okay. So if I can respond. Okay. So at the end of the day, fans. You say fans have been impatient, but Alex, you have to understand something as well. That in the modern era, we have surpassed having a manager for 20 odd years. All the other clubs. If you look at Chelsea, for example, they had about 4 or 5 managers that have been successful for a short period of time, and as soon as the levels dropped, they're being sacked. You look at them down the road; they moved a bit quicker than us. They're still in the top 4, and yet we're meant to be the bigger club. You look at the likes of Liverpool and Man City. Liverpool had Klopp come in, and the board, he was backed by the board. They're bought into his philosophy. It's going to take 3 years, and look where they are now. When they play almost Arsenal-esque in a sense, which I don't mean to insult any Liverpool fans, but the way that they play with a type of swagger is the same way that Arsenal used to play when we had Thierry Henry and Perez and Bergkamp. When you look at Man City is governed by a country, so they bought anyone that they wanted to, and we also lent into that as well. We gave away if we're going to go back historically, we gave away our peak players to our rivals. Our rivals would never do that to us. So let's talk about being patient. When we entered into the Emirates, the new fortress, we was under the illusion that that's the way we are now a big club. We can compete with the bigger clubs in the UK as well as in Europe. And now we're found in this mess because it's a compound of errors made from previous years. And we hadn't been strong enough to say, hang a minute now, this is wrong. This is the wrong direction we're going in. Yeah, we are in free fall. We're in free fall because of what happened in the past. Now, it's as unfortunate as it is, Unai Emery stepped in hoping to change that. But he came into a job knowing full well what was expected. And yes, as fans, we said it wasn't acceptable. There's a lot of times when he changed formation, he changed tactics, and he pretty much said, look, it's not me, it's the players. So if you're saying about foresight's been a wonderful thing, if, for example, he was still managing to yesterday with yesterday's results, how long would you yourself be questioning his tenureship before you start? Now you're shaking your head. So let me say this. Let me say this.
I would give him until the end of the season.
Okay.
Give him until the end of the season.
Okay.
Because
I
I'm
understand.
absolutely sure that if he was in charge up until this point, we would have got the same result because it's the same players. It's the gutless players, Ralph.
Okay. So now, okay, Alex. So now what you're saying is two games in, if Emery was still here, we're in 10th place at this moment in time. How many more games you give him to the end of the season? Supposing now, because now we're heading towards, which I hate to say, relegation. Supposing the unforgivable situation, we become relegated under Unai Emery. You be saying yourself, or those who are supporting you will be saying, hang a minute now, why didn't the board step in? because we can see this was going to happen.
Somehow, step in what sense? What do you mean step in? To sack him?
Alex, if we was relegated, are you telling me you still stick with Unai Emery when we're relegated?
I said to you that I would stick by him until the end of the season.
Yeah, but the end of the season
that would have been his project.
Yeah,
he's 2 seasons there. And the thing is, let me just go back to a point you made there about us being a big club. The reality is, going by the results and going by the performances, the gutless performances that the players were put in there, we are no longer a big club. It is what it is. The Premiership does not lie.
Yeah,
we are a mid-table team.
But at the same time, Alex, at the same time, Alex, what you're saying is that, okay, we stick with the manager. We're relegated, and then you would have the board would have to act and have to get somebody else in. Wouldn't it be more prudent, in a sense, to try and get somebody else in? This is where the board has come unstuck. As soon as they let go Unai, they decide to just temporarily think that Freddie Ljungberg was the answer. And I said to you, and I also put it on my post as well, that Freddie Ljungberg is not a coach. He's not a manager. It's not the job for him. The board needs to step in and get somebody, either they're proven or come in with the idea that they can shape this team. That, again, is the bottom line. So Freddie Ljungberg is pretty much held at the helm with this ship sinking. So what are you going to say now? You're saying pretty much, oh, well, we shouldn't have let go of Unai. There comes a point, Alex. There comes a point when you have to say enough's enough. We have been patient, Alex. We have been patient. I'm not talking about 18 months. I'm talking about the 4+ years back when Wenger was in, and he didn't do anything, and the board didn't do anything, because as far as they were concerned, we were getting playing the Champions League. The stadium was already paid for, but we can still sell our players, our favorite players, to our rivals. The board was negligent. So, this season, it's only this season that the board has decided to wake up.
So let me ask you this question. So the match yesterday, we lost against Brighton. Is it Freddie Ljungberg's fault that we lost 2-1?
Of course, it's not Ljungberg's fault. It's not Ljungberg's fault. Ljungberg may not have played the players that he should have played, but at the end of the day, Alex, this is where it comes in. If you checked on Twitter when Unai was sacked, and you had the players saying, "Well, sorry, coach, we didn't give it our all and everything," it's the players. Like I said just a while ago, the players now are saying, actually, yeah, we should have done more. We should have given more. They're not playing for the shirt. So unfortunately, we've lost a coach because it's the players. The way that blame tends to filter down, it'll filter down from the board to the manager, whoever the manager is, unfortunately, at times, and to the players. The players are accountable. But at this moment in time, we are in free fall. So what happens now? As I mentioned to you before, and I mentioned to Mube Guna before as well, is the fact that now we're in a realm where we don't have managers in for the lengthy period of time that we used to have. It's a result business, and it is unfair, but it is, as you mentioned, it is what it is. The players now have to step up. If they're not going to step up, the board should be acting now to appoint someone. They weren't bold enough to I wouldn't have taken Mourinho. But they're not bold enough at this moment in time to take on someone who can walk in and say, right, you're on the sidelines, you play. This is my philosophy, and we're going to stick to it. Unfortunately, we are in this realm as we are. We're going to be a club where we're going to have one or two managers, 2 seasons or maybe 3 seasons maximum, because we're not patient. But we've been patient enough, and we've been fed enough BS in the past because we trusted people. Now it's come back. The chickens has come to roost because we've allowed people to just fob us off. We pay the highest tickets in Europe, and we're not doing, the board is not doing one damn thing other than just stand back and let Rome burn, as it were. One more thing as well. You're saying about me being a flip flop.
Mm-hmm.
I have the right to change my opinion based on results. Back in the day, if Arsenal played well, they played well. If they didn't play well, they didn't play well. You took it on the chin. These days, we are more able to have the information on hand and question the motives of the manager, question the motives of the players and the board. And if I see something that I don't like, then I have the right to change my mind based on the information at hand.
Did I not say that? Did I not say that? I said that you're entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah,
and I said I'm
but also at the same time. But also at the same time, I have to defend my opinion as well.
Of course, but I've said as well, I'm entitled to my own opinion. But when Arsenal lose, am I baying for the manager or coach to be sacked? No, I'm not. Because I understand this is football. This is football.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw, I'm not asking for the manager to be sacked. It is what it is. It's football. But Alex, and then maybe, let me finish my point here. Maybe it's a good thing that we end up in the mid-table without any European football, without having all the pressure on the players or the coach or the board. It might be a blessing in disguise that we don't have any European football, so we can build again, get rid of a lot of the players who just do not have the guts to fight. It could be a blessing in disguise. Forget about European football for one season and bring in some players that are going to fight, going to roll up their sleeves, come rain or shine. And that's what's been lacking. That's what's been lacking at the Arsenal. There are no players they're all soft. They're all soft, overpriced players coming at the Arsenal just earning a wage. That is the problem at Arsenal. Tell me, who in the defence, where do we have a commanding centre-back? We don't have one. Who's in the midfield, commanding the midfield? We don't have one. Who's a captain? Tony Adam-esque? We don't have one. So it's a blessing in disguise. I hope that we don't have no European football for next season. Let's come back and regroup. Do you want to say something? I need to go into the chat. Go on, you want to say something? Go on.
Okay, so one other thing I would say is the fact that accountability starts and stops with the board, with the manager, stroke coach, and with the players. And no matter what results tend to happen, you have to aim it at the player if he misses a chance. And you have to aim it at the manager who doesn't set us up properly. You have to aim at the board because the board can only act based on the way that the team or the club is represented. So it's like you said before, hindsight is easy and it's a beautiful thing, but you also have to question people's motives. It doesn't matter if it's the manager, doesn't matter if it's the chairman, doesn't matter if it's the player. There have to be some sense of accountability.
All right, let me just take a pause for the pause. Those of you just coming to the live podcast, I've got my brother Raz on the Easytalk Bite Size. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms. We're on Facebook, Canfoy TV. Also, we're on Twitter through Periscope. And we're going to be uploading this segment of Easytalk later this evening on YouTube. Let me get into the chat and just see what people have been saying. Right, so we've got Amube Guni says, family, what's happening? Let go, whatever he means by that. Quite much Arsenal. This ain't the Arsenal I fell in love with as a kid. We need Pochettino. What do you think about that? Would you take Pochettino?
I don't know. He may have a point to prove because the way he was let go by them down the road, it's, as you said before, it's football. And those kind of things tend to happen to good coaches. So if he comes in with the guts to say, right, okay, well, I'll show you and help us, as it were, to gain into top four, I'm not saying about winning any trophies or anything. Get us back into top 4. Although it's going to be rather difficult now because top 4 has slipped out of our reach.
Yeah.
So maybe just to gain us back up into the top 6, and if we pick up something along the way, then brilliant. But it was not out of the realms of possibility. I remember years ago, Mourinho said that he won't go to another club because he loves Chelsea, and then all of a sudden he's with them down the road. So loyalty amongst managers is not not a given.
Yeah. Mube goes on to say, Alex, you really think the squad we played against, Liverpool kids, wasn't good enough to win? No, because we didn't win. We didn't win, did we? We didn't win. We didn't win last night. So the response is the squad is not good enough. And I saw your tweet last night as well, Mube, where you said, really, the squad is not good enough. Period. It all fell apart when he made the subs in the Liverpool game, bro. Emery had to go, Alex. Richard from Arsenal TV says, at the moment we are a relegation side with our form. Emery should have went after Leicester game. Most of these players are Emery's players. He brought them in. Listen, it's down to the board. The board picks and chooses and pays for the players. He's only the coach. He's only the coach, Mube. And he keeps playing the same players. And then what happened last night? Actually, what happened in the first game? With Fred Lundberg at the wheel. He played the same players. And he included your boy, Mustafi, Mube. So come on, man. Drop underperforming players. Why is Sokratis and Luis still or starting? What do you think about that, Ralph? Sokratis and Luis?
I've one to say that I don't want to say like I'm the big Iron Man or anything. I don't mean that. I don't want that to come across. I've always been so skeptical to players coming from other teams to join us. Okay, so we had Czech, but then we had Silvestri as well. Did we have Brown? I can't remember if we had Brown for Man United.
No,
also.
We didn't. No.
It was Silvestri.
No. Yeah.
Right. And David Luiz. I'm sure there's another. Who's the guy from Chelsea? And he came to us in 2008-9.
Gallas? No.
And he had when we lost, when we drew to Birmingham. Gallas. It was Gallas.
William Gallas.
It was Gallas. William Gallas.
Yeah.
And he played for them. Yeah, being skeptical players who have been more established with those teams, and they come to us. So when David Luiz came in, I wasn't taken. And when we lost the match, I think it was Liverpool when it was 2 penalties. Well, no, it's a penalty. He gave away a penalty. He gave away 2 penalties in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't like. I'd rather we have youngsters coming through the ranks because they identify a team, and then we blood them in, as it were. Mm-hmm. If anyone's going to come in with experience, look at Lechsteiner. He came in because he was meant to be giving Bellerin some competition, and that fell straight away. So all those ex-players or past players, I'm not a fan of. I'll get rid of him. Sokratis, I don't know what he is on at this moment in time. Is not the player that. When he was the player, he still wasn't the player. So I don't know. It's a mess.
But definitely, I think there's a case. I think as Mube says, just get rid of a lot of the players. They should not be wearing the red and white of Arsenal. Definitely not.
Get the youngsters in.
Yeah, get the youngsters in. Between Dalglish and Klopp, Liverpool changed 5 managers. You don't still with them just because. You don't stay with them just because. But it's not just because. You know, you imagine the turnover of players that they must have had there to reach at the point that they are now. And we've got players, again, they do not deserve to be at Arsenal. There's no hunger or desire there. Just get rid of them. And as Ralph says, you know, just bring in the youth players. You know, they'll run around for you. They'll give you, you know, more and then some. So a lot of the players at Arsenal do not deserve to be there. They're just there earning a wage. And as well, Matteo Guendouzi still hasn't scored. Anyway, moving on.
Well, thanks for that. still a long season, according to you. Still a long season. Don't worry. When he comes in, bruv,
listen,
I still haven't DM'd him yet. I still haven't DM'd him yet. Yeah, you carry on.
All right, okay. So, just one other thing we wanted to talk about. I know Lacazette, he's made his 100th appearance for the Arsenal yesterday, but it's kind of tingling in my mind that he's. I know he scored 3 goals in the last 3 games, but he's not the Lacazette of old. And I'm just wondering, you know, is it part to do with the injury that he had? He was out for quite a while. Surely Arsenal will be better suited if they started with GABRIEL, Martinelli. What do you think, Ralph?
I totally agree. I think I was talking to one of the guys actually at work who's a Liverpool fan, and we was talking about obviously current form and everything. And I said to him how back in the day, when you had players jockeying for positions, you always had to look over your shoulder because you knew that if you didn't perform, that person who was maybe a youngster still trying to learn the trade and everything, but got the nuggets of the potential. He was a person who was literally in your face. And then in the end, he took your place. And to be fair, Lacazette, he's a workhorse, but I don't think he's been the same since he's come back. No. I think he's been straining himself a lot. And the unkind but natural progression of a striker is the fact that one day somebody's going to come in quicker, younger, faster, and stronger than yourself. And Martinelli, he's got that in
abundance.
In spirit, he's got it in abundance. Yeah. And I don't understand why, when things are not going our way, that we can't swap Lacazette or Aubameyang. I've noticed as well, I'm sure many Arsenal fans will notice, is the fact that no one from midfield really has scored any goals. It's always Aubameyang and Lacazette.
Yep.
So that takes a toll in itself as well. You know, when you've got, I hate to keep on harking back to the past, but in midfield you had Perez who would score goals. You had Edu, you had Gilberto, you had Vieira, you had I want to say not Merce because Merce wasn't there, but you had Bergkamp. Everyone in midfield would chip in a goal. It wasn't always about Henry. As much as we gave Henry as much probably as he deserves, and Wrighty back in the day, Wrighty couldn't do much if he didn't have Anders Limpar. Then he had Bergkamp. You understand me? So there was always someone to chipping in to a goal. Martinelli, I don't see why we can't just, you know, put Lacazette on and then put Martinelli for maybe the last, like, say, 30 minutes. Because he'll run his guts out. He'll run from deep.
And that's what I've been saying about the determination. We need, like I was joking with Richard on fan comments last week, Monday. Why can't we have 11 Martinellis who are going to run? They're going to run and run and not stop. Well, of course, that's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's been maybe a few more comments in the chat. Again, Mube seems to be dominating this evening's chat. We can't change 25 players, my guy. Not possible. No, I'm not saying.
But what you do?
Yeah, go on.
But what you do? You identify those who are simply not doing it. We have to start being honest. You understand me? You can't just keep on thinking, okay, we put this guy in because we don't have anybody else. When there's somebody else to replace him, you replace him. You pull him up short. The thing with Arsene Wenger, the first 10 years, he had an established amount of players, with the exception of Vieira and Petit, who knew how each other played. They knew it back to front. It was only the midfield and the defense, the midfield and the attack that popped up and popped as it did. When Anelka came in, Anelka was only 18 when he scored against Man United. 18, 19 when he scored against Man United. But he could have done as much as we wanted to, because without having the foundation. And the foundation was the defense and the midfield. So you identify we got weak players. You brought up already. We've got weak-minded players. You systematically take one out and you put a youngster in who's willing to run his guts out, and then you show him. You say, look, if this youngster is doing what I'm asking him to do, and you're a pro, you're experienced, there's only 1-2 ways that you can go. You can either follow or you're out. We haven't been that strong.
Yeah. Okay, there's one from Mube, and he says, Martinelli, Aubameyang, Pepe, fully agree. That's what I mean by dropping players. And you know I love Laka. But Mube, you know, I put a poll out, actually, yesterday about players they should not feel as though they have a divine right to be on the team sheets. Otherwise, they become complacent. And I think on the poll...
That's what's happened in the past.
I think it's probably happening a little bit now as well. So on the current poll, excuse me, there was Aubameyang, who currently stands on 35%, Tierney on 24%, Lacazette on 0%, and Leno on 41%. And that's a poll from 17 votes. And that's just on the YouTube channel there. So, yeah, you know, we love Lacazette, but if those players are not performing, they shouldn't feel like they have the divine right to continue being, you know, chosen. Otherwise, again, you get the complacent, you get the laziness, you know, and then in the end, it affects.
Or you get the attitude.
The attitude.
That I'm not going to be dropped because they need me, rather than fearing that they need to watch their space, because one mistake. I remember this is something funny. I remember when before Wrighty came to Arsenal, he played for Crystal Palace, and in the infamous FA Cup, Crystal Palace versus Man United, he scored 2 goals against Man United, and then they equalised and they drew. But one of the goals was down to a goalkeeper error, and I'm trying to remember the name of the goalkeeper. His name came up to me for Man United. In the replay, they dropped the goalkeeper. In the replay, they dropped the goalkeeper. Now, Ferguson identified that goalkeeper, mistake as it was, he wasn't allowing that. So he said, "Nah, you're not playing the replay."
Yeah, yeah.
And they went on to win the cup.
And that's the way it has to be. That's the way it has to be.
That's the way it has to be. That's the way it has to be.
All right, just a couple more comments in the chat before we go into the final point we want to talk about on Cannon 4 TV. We have different opinions. That's what makes this channel great. Respectful disagreement is okay. Thank you for the shout out, Mube. And that's what we've always said, Ralph and myself, that it's I won't say it's unique, because you've got a whole load of YouTube channels and small creators out in the world there in cyberspace trying to do more or less the same thing. And we try to be, you know, a little bit not so serious, and we let everyone have their say in the matter. You know, that's the way the Cannon 4 TV is. You know, that's the way it is. And last, he says, I remember for a long time Wenger didn't start Laka and Aubameyang together. That is a good shout. You're right. I guess this is right.
Yeah.
Complacency. You know, get a little bit too comfortable. Okay. The last thing we want to talk about was the game that's going to be happening on Monday. Monday Night Football is back again. West Ham versus Arsenal. Potential 3 points in the bag.
We're away as well.
We're away. Another team, another manager. You know,
where do we stand with Arsenal fan circle in terms of?
I think we must be still beating them because I don't think they've gotten their last 3 predictions right. Neither have we. But I think we still remain ahead of them. But yeah, that's a good point actually. Oh, come on, we're winning, man. Cannon Fire TV, man. Come on, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the thing is, I'm always tipping us to win, and the matches that I always feel that we should be winning. No disrespect to anyone, it probably will come across disrespectfully. We struggle or we draw, or like last night. I tell you what, I don't know how that TV is still standing where it is because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And at the same point, I can. But I'll say draw. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's going to be a 2-2 draw. It's going to be a 2-2 draw, man, because they're just as bad at this moment in time. But exactly. I said this on for a reason, that when there's blood in the water, the sharks start circling round. So far, Brighton's had a bite. Sheffield United's had a bite. Southampton nearly enough. Norwich.
Yeah.
You understand me? So we're the only way. That's right. The only way that we're going to survive is we have to go bold. I'd rather that we go bold and pepper about 30, 40 shots in the first half just to get them guessing than just to go in strategically and try and see if we can hold off on all this kind of nonsense. It hasn't helped. It hasn't worked. Let's just go bold. Let's just go at people. What's the worst that can happen, eh?
I'm going to go for a draw as well. I just can't see us, really getting the 3 points away from home. We know our away record is absolutely shocking, and I just can't see us where we're going to get those 3 points from in the next 2 games. I don't know what the next 2 games are. I know West Ham. I think we're back
in Victoria, and
okay,
I think we've got Man City.
Okay, I think you're right, Man City. Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting times, bruv.
Yeah. Just one more time into the chat. See if Mube's still there, up and with us.
I thought IG might have said something, or James, or Gunnar. I always seem to miss these guys. I'm working, and you have those guys on, and when I'm not working, those guys are off. So I'm not taking it personally, but
don't take it personal. All right. Mube says 3 points away. Are you mad? All fun and jokes aside, we have to win. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Those days are gone, Mube. 1-0 to the Arsenal ain't happening. You've got a defense that's leaking goals like nobody's business. 1-0 to the Arsenal ain't happening, man. Nah. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
I think if we can get the old back 4 out, then maybe. But no, it's not going to happen.
No, that is a joke, Mube. 1-0 to the Arsenal. That's not happening, man. That's not happening. All right, and just the last one, just to cap off this segment of Easy Talk. Good show again. Cheers, boys. Chat later. We will indeed. Just a quick reminder, all the segments on Cannon Fire TV. We've got on Mondays is the fan comments with my co-host, Richard on Arsenal TV. This coming Monday, we're going to be having James, who's going to be going through the final 32 in the Europa League. He's going to give me his opinion so far on the action in this year's Europa League. Wednesdays is the voice of reason with my brother, giving his side of Arsenal in his unique way.
Thank you.
And
I could give another sign as well, but it's a family channel.
And then on Fridays, we have the Easy Talk. Usually,
I should have worn my suit. I should have worn my suit or with my gloves.
Fridays is the Easy Talk, and usually, well, actually, for the last few weeks, we've been doing just bite-sized versions. I think the feedback I'm getting that people prefer the bite-sized versions. They're quick, snappy, and it always leaves you wanting a little bit more. But that's the way things are going for now, anyway. Ralph, is there anything else you want to say before we lock it off?
No, just it's challenging times, and this is when the real players stand up. So I'm not sure if anyone from Arsenal is watched our channel, so to speak. But Arsenal, you've got a great opportunity now to start standing up, because the fans, we don't go nowhere. You players, you go from club to club. But if you're going to stand up for us, this is the time to do it right now. You have to turn things around, because as much as we like to be on the pitch with you, the only way we can do that is by voicing our support. So it's down to you guys. I used to say it's down to Unai. He's no longer there. It's down to the board. They're still around somehow. But it's down to you players now. You guys got to show up. So that's all I can say.
If you've been wondering who or what you've been watching, you have been watching Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world. No breaking news.